Shine with Kendall Lanise. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Thank you for shining with me, first and foremost, every week on Shine with Kendall Lanise. I am a certified transformational life coach, speaker, author, as well as a certified financial coach. Each week, I hope to elevate you, educate you, and entertain you with our various guests and various topics here on Shine with Kendall Lanise. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to tell a friend. And now on to this week's show. Hey everybody, welcome to Shine. I am your host, Kendall Lanise. I thank you so much for returning. To all my loyal listeners, if this is your first time tuning in and you just stumbled upon Shine, I thank you so much for tuning in. I want everybody to go where they listen to their podcast and hit the subscribe button. The more subscribers, the more sponsorship, and the bigger and the better the shows can possibly be. If you just discovered Shine, please don't keep it to yourself. Tell your friends and family about Shine. This is episode 89, so I have a lot of great shows for you. And the beautiful thing about podcasts are you can listen from anywhere at any time. You can go all the way back to episode 1 and work your way up to episode 89, which is this one. You can listen at any time. You can start, you can take a break, you can do whatever you need to do, come back, finish it off. You can share it, you can repost it, and you can get the word out. I mean, I have some amazing shows and some amazing guests. Some you will recognize and some you will be introduced to. But I have a range of subjects, from allowing God to choose your mate with my husband and I, to pole dancing, to meditation, talking about mental illness, autism, women bosses, entrepreneurship, Me Too movement. I mean, it's so many different ones. Silly ones. We talk about sex. I have a sex coach on the show, so there are a lot of different topics and subjects that we tackle here. You will crack up, you will think, you will laugh, you will cry. I mean, a lot of different things. I'm a life coach, so I do my life coaching thing also, like I'm going to do today. So in between some of the silly or fun, I should say, episodes and serious episodes, you'll get some coaching in between as well. So got a lot of great things for you on Shine. So just check them out. Check out the episodes. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to talk about, who you want me to interview. And I will do just that. All right. Before we get started with today's show, which I shine my spotlight on, when life doesn't do what you want it to do, what do you do? So we're going to go to the life note and be right back with the show. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, this week's life note is: disappointment has no place in the heart full of gratitude. Disappointment has no place in a heart full of gratitude. That's the life note for today. And I don't know if you're going to chime in, but my husband Darryl is sitting right here. Darryl, you there?
Hey.
So he may chime in every now and then, or people say every now and again. All right. So when life doesn't do what you want it to do, what do you do when your life doesn't work out as you plan? All right. So life is never predictable, as we know. The longer you live, the more you will learn this. As you go through life, you will discover life may not go as you want it to go. It could be because of your choices, or because your life path that God sets for you. It could be His way, which typically it is. As people, we want what we want. And with life, there's no difference. We still want the life we want. Who out there doesn't want a certain type of life? Everybody, right? Everybody looks at their life and say, okay, I could have this, or I could do this. Or, as you go through life, you think by this age, this stage, this phase in life, that your life would look a certain way. We all have ideas, hopes, dreams, and an ideal life in our mind. No one wants to be in struggle or pain, not live up to our fullest potential. Who wants a life like that, right? When life is not doing what you want it to do, you need to just be still, reflect, and pray. Although difficult, you still have to continue to do that. You can't harp on the life you wanted if that's not your current reality. You have to look forward and see how your life unfolds. And we don't know how our life is going to unfold. As long as we live, there will be twists and turns and different things that occur in our life that we never saw coming. When life throws us a curveball, how do we feel? We feel sad. We feel mad, ashamed, afraid, guilty, inadequate, like a failure. We're outraged, overwhelmed, anxious, and downright pissed off because we wanted it to go a certain way. Pay attention to what you're feeling and stay in that moment. A lot of people say, oh, well, you shouldn't feel like this. That's the worst thing that you can say to a person. As a life coach, I don't suggest that. And a human being, I don't suggest that. When you tell someone how they should feel, or better yet, you shouldn't feel that way. You can't tell someone how to feel. So you want to stay in that moment for a minute and really feel your feelings, but you want to be responsible for your feelings. How you feel, Darryl, when somebody says, oh, well, you shouldn't feel that way, or don't feel that way, or are you guilty of telling people that?
Well, you should say, for the most part, I understand how you're feeling and try to understand it from a different point of view or somebody else's point of view. You want to feel the thing, kind of, and feel it, but yet you still don't want to remain there, especially if you're going through the valleys of the shadows of death.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to stay there, but I think it's important to, feel your feelings because you want to be able to identify them, because only when you identify them, you can begin to shift and change. You then want to begin to focus on the right things. You want to have a renewed mind. Instead of feeling ashamed and inadequate and sad and pissed, you want to start to feel maybe hopeful, excited, re-energized, and you want to be reflective. You want to accept what is and move towards what can be. But you also want to ask yourself, are you expecting without working? Because a lot of people expect certain things, but they don't work towards it. And they say, well, I'm going to leave it in God's hands. And yes, you're supposed to let go and let God. But sometimes you're supposed to be an active participant with God. And I truly believe that. And some people really let go and just let God and not do anything about it. You know people like that? Or what you think, Darryl?
Well, it has to. It's a partnership and a relationship in regards to you and God. But you definitely have to do your work. You have to do your due diligence. You have to do you have to be tenacious. So it's definitely not just all God and just let God do it and just sit back. That's not going to work at all. So you have to do your part as well. As He leads you, you have to definitely lead as well as follow sometimes.
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear him. He's all the way in the background, and I'm looking at the little equalizer, so it's kind of low. So hopefully you all can hear him chiming in from the cheap seats. Right. Many people ask, where is God? When they're going through stuff in life and when life throws them a hard ball or disappointment, they're asking, well, where is God? Because if there is a God, why does He have me homeless? Or why does He have me, in pain or sickness? Why does He have me suffering? Why does He have me financially challenged? Why does He have me, depressed or mad all the time? And a lot of people want to know where is God, especially believers, even believers. It's okay to acknowledge the disappointment, but if you believe and you know that God is God and he will, protect you and he will make a way even when you don't know there is a way or how the way is going to come. But that doesn't make it easier, especially when you're going through trials of life, right?
Absolutely.
So it's difficult to say, okay, well, I believe, because in your heart of hearts you believe. But then what you're going through, it's like, okay, well, what's going on? Because this is not the life I want. And a lot of people are like, well, if my life doesn't go how I want, then what do I do? What should I do? And that's where people have to, sit still sometimes and really try to be reflective about your life. So although difficult times come, it is important and to really still just go on with your life. So if life doesn't go as planned, what do? Right? You're going to live. You are still living and learning and growing. You don't want to wait to be happy. Even when things are going not as planned or you're disappointed by life or life knocked you down on the ground, you still want to try to be happy or try to figure out what things still make you happy, even if it's going to get a smoothie, going to the movies, spending time with your loved ones. Just find some type of happy in that. But you don't want to wait to be happy until your life is as you think it should be.
Correct.
You want to chime in on that? I was looking at him again. I'm moving aside. I was looking at him to see if he had something to say.
No, well, you have to create your bits and you have to create your happiness. You have to create your bits and pieces of happiness in the midst of your storms. You have to create that. I think that's important. I think it's important to have and keep faith, keep hope, as well as doing the actions and having plans as well. Even if everything seems to not always be going your way, as long as it's going and you continue to move and you continue to press your way, good things at some point are actually going to happen. So you just have to keep faith, keep belief, keep action going. And you'll get there.
And a lot of people don't even want to get there. They're like, I don't want to be happy. What is there to be, happy about? Mm-hmm. And I get it. I understand, especially when you're mad. You want to keep that same energy. You want to continue to be mad because everything in your life is nothing like you expected it to be. Expectations, boy, sometimes they are the mother of disappointment. And sometimes when you're expecting and you don't receive, then that's really a letdown. So I totally get it. And people are like, well, where can I find my happy? This is happening. That's happening. This is happening. My life is nothing like I wanted it, or my life is not where it should be. But you still have to try to find just a smidge of happy. And don't wait to be happy. Create your happiness, even if it's in a chaotic world or a chaotic life at the moment. But also you want to understand that life isn't happening to you. You are happening to your life. If your life is not working for you, like I say, you got to remix it. It's time to rewrite your story. Find ways that you can kind of change your life. Find ways to say, okay, well, this didn't work out. Find some joy somewhere or do something different. When you continue to keep doing the same things and you keep getting the same outcome, they say that's insanity. So it might be something as simple as just tweaking some of the things you do, or maybe talking to someone who's been where you are, because everybody has had disappointments in their lives. Everybody's life is not the way they want it at all times. That's just, untrue. A lot of people think, you think it is because it might be fine now, but life doesn't always do what you want it to do and what you think it should do. Sometimes, again, it's how we create it with the choices and the decisions that we make that lead us to live the life we don't want to live. or, underlining it's always God's plan, we as people might just take a different route or make things harder on ourselves when they don't have to be. But ultimately, we still are going to end up in the same destination. What do you do when your life, do you ever think about like how you wanted your life and it's not how it is? Like, what do you do in that situation? Like a real answer.
No, you have to create what it is that you are looking for. You have to have a vision. You have to create what it is that you are looking for. And even if it has not or is not yet manifested, or even if it may have taken a turn, seemingly not for the best, you still have to continue to maintain a sense of hopefulness, as well as the activity to still perpetuate and create that in which you're looking for.
So you have to kind of create your happy, create that space, right?
Try to create.
And you said to be hopeful,
Yes.
and that sometimes is not easy to be hopeful when you feel like everything is coming down around you. But you gotta remain hopeful. There's always hope. All right. So you want to voice your view. Be honest with yourself. I'm not happy with this life. Own it and allow it to be your fuel to continue on. Because some people are afraid to say, you know what? I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling, what's going on. I don't like this life. Because to me, it should fuel you to do better or to want better or try to figure out how you can make your life better. What changes can you make? What things can you do? So I'm an advocate of saying, you know what? I'm not happy. There's no future in your fronting. There's no reason to say, oh, I'm happy. I'm all for affirmations. I'm all for positive speaking. But sometimes, as Iyanla says, you got to call a thing. Because when you say, I'm not happy with this life, that'll give you the power and the encouragement to change it. What you think?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But when people say, I am happy. Yeah, you tell yourself that enough times, you will believe it. But ultimately, if you're not happy, you're not going to feel it. So acknowledge that you're not happy with your life and take that and do better. You also want to do more of what you love. I think it's so important in life, the time that we're here is really just take the time to do more of what we love. Do whatever makes your soul happy. A lot of times people are doing things that other people think they should do, or they're taught to do or told to do, and they're not really living the life that they want to live. I'm an advocate for education, but some people, college is just not for them. But someone else told them to go to college. Someone else told them to get a Fortune 500 job, work for corporate America, wear the suit, tie, stockings, dress. And they're going to work every single day to a job they hate, working with people they hate even more because someone told them that's the life they should lead. Or you're good with computers. Why don't you get into IT? Or why don't you get into computers? Or you're good at your hands. You're developing this or you're doing that. Do that. And it's not even what the people wanted to do. It's what a parent or someone said. Hey, you're good at computers. We're going to put you in computers. And that's not something that maybe you wanted to do. So you're really not happy with your path and you're not happy with your life. And something as simple as changing your profession can bring more happiness to you, or going back to school, or changing your course of study, or changing the people who are around you, or get married or get divorced, or, just change or shake up something in your life. And you can find instant happy that way. But you got to find what makes you happy, because you can change things around you on the flip side. But if you don't change what's in your heart and change certain things about you, then you're going to take yourself wherever you go, or who around whoever you go, and you're still going to be unhappy. So you want to do the soul work first and then work your way out to the people around you and the things that you're doing. So it's important to dive in head first and enjoy what you love and just do more of it. The next one on my list is to forgive yourself and the people you are mad at. Sometimes you're not happy and you feel like life is not doing what you want them to do because you have people in your life that you're still angry with, or you're not forgiven, and most importantly, not forgiving yourself for something that you've done. And you feel like it's karma, or you feel like life is really beating you up because you did this, or because you didn't forgive this person, or because you didn't forgive yourself. So you want to release that so you can go ahead and live the life you want. You are on course, believe it or not. Even if you don't think you're on course, God orchestrated your life and He loves you. Even if it's difficult to believe, He is there guiding your steps, even when you think you're on your own. And sometimes for people, that's hard to believe. Growing up and still now, every birthday party, every funeral, every family event, my family wanted me to recite the poem, The Footprints. And it's even when you're thinking you're alone and you're walking on the beach and you see one set of footprints and you think you're by yourself. And God says, all the while I was carrying you. And sometimes that's what it feels like when you feel like you just see your footprints and you feel like this life is not working out for me. I may not want to be here anymore. A lot of people are dealing with that because some people see a hard time. Things happen in people's lives. Certain things, they've gotten laid off. They can't pay their bills. They can't take care of their families. And it's just really a struggle. And when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, you have a vision over your life and you want it to be a certain way, especially when you get older. You don't want to struggle with some of the things that you struggle with in your 20s and 30s. You want to ride that thing out and have the life that you want and life that you've created for yourself. And there's still time to do that. But you got to really look at your life and see what you can change and what you can do to make it better. What you got to say? Anything to say? I want to give you opportunity to talk, Darryl.
Yeah, that was good. That was excellent. I agree with every point you made. It was excellent.
You just agreeing, or you?
Yeah, I'm agreeing when it's right. When it's good, I'm gonna say it's good. It was really good.
And then, what's for you will always be for you. How many times have you heard that? But do you actually believe that? What's for you will be for you. So even when you think your life is not going how you may want it to go, you're not missing out. Even when it seems like it, you're not missing out. You didn't miss your train, and you got to look at it like that. It just may be stalled. That train may be stalled at the station a bit. Life will always allow you to catch a different train or taking the same train, just maybe at a different stop. It may even wait for you. Your train may wait for you. It will be impossible for you to miss it because it's your train. So if you look at it like that, you know how sometimes you might miss your stop if you've been on a train, if you've been on a bus, if you've been, in a car and your exit, you might miss your exit. But if you circle back around, you can still be there. It might be delayed. Your arrival time might be delayed, or you might have to transfer and catch this or do that. But ultimately, you'll get to where you're supposed to be in life. And sometimes it's just as simple as that. Or we as people, say we want this type of life, but we're making our lives harder by the choices we make. So, Darryl, what would you say with some of the choices that we make in life and how sometimes we make our lives more difficult than they have to be?
Yeah, we have to learn from our mistakes or our errors. And all you're get understanding. Learn from your mistakes. Make the adjustments necessary that you need to make. And, never be afraid to continue to reach out and try, different things or new things. Kind of face your fears too as well. Because some people get stagnant in doing the same thing, the same repetitious thing. and therefore they never really expand or never really grow. So you may have to have some courage on some things too as well.
So it's all about really just trying to see, what's going on with your life, what things are no longer working for you, and then really make, better choices or different choices. And no one makes the best choice all the time. It's impossible, but we strive to make hopefully you strive to make informed decisions and choices. So, a lot of clients come to me as a life coach, and for this reason alone, they feel stuck. Their life is not how they think it should be. So I'm going to give some more tips, but before I do that, I am going to take a quick break. Be right back. Thank you for shining with me, Kendall Lanise. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show and don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine. We'll be right back. Are you stuck in a dead-end job or relationship? Do you lack motivation? Are you unhappy with the way your life is turning out? Do you have a difficult time achieving goals and reaching your dreams? Are you ready to get back to what's important? Do you want to just spice up your life? Are you at a crossroads in life and you don't know which way to turn? All of these things I can help you with. My name is Kendall Lanise, and I'm a certified transformational life coach. For more information about my life coaching services, please visit livingtruelivingyou.com. Now back to the show. All right, and we're back. Darryl, you back?
Back.
So people often ask me, I do certifications also in life coaching, teaching other people how to be life coaches. And I'm working with a lady right now, actually. Well, not right now, but currently meeting weekly. And I'm I am coaching her on how to be a coach. So I just said something normally I don't say, trying. As a life coach, you just do. You don't try. But we're all guilty of saying, well, we're trying, myself included, but you just do. If you want to do it, you just do it. You work towards doing it. So oftentimes people always say, well, a life coach, what does a life coach do? I mean, I've seen some on TV. Yana said she's a life coach. I watch different shows and they're going to a life coach, or my friend goes to a life coach. What is a life coach? And as I was reading the Huffington Post by Ariana Huffington, which she is in the same, I don't want to say sorority club that I'm in, leadership and success. I don't want to call it a club. It's almost like a sorority, but fraternity, but it's men and women. But it's the Honor Society, the Society of Leadership and Success. She's a part of that as well. So often I read the Huffington Post. And I was reading an article that talked about life coaches. Like, what is a life coach? 5 ways a life coach can help you get unstuck. Because typically people are stuck in a rut. When their life is not going where they want it to go, they're stuck and they don't know how to get out of the stuckery, if you will. So with a life coach, 5 things that a life coach can help you do to become unstuck. And I'm reading this from the Huffington Post. I have my own ways also. If you go to my website, livingtruelivingyou.com, that's one of the things that I ask. One of the questions I ask, are you stuck? Are you feeling stuck? Because more times than not, people come to me saying they're stuck. So listening for structure, that's what a life coach can do for you. Many methods of listening are focused on the content of what the client is saying. Like a reporter, listening for who, what, when, where. Coaches listen beyond the content and also on the structural components of what's being said, like patterns, language that limit your power, bigger pictures, within what you're saying. A coach listens for these connections and can help a client begin to think in different patterns, find new ways, organize the content, and create new solutions. Another thing that a life coach can do is just make you see different ways of thinking, levels of thinking. A coach is not limited by the same thinking the client may be stuck in. Coaches ask questions at different levels of thinking, inspire a client to create new awareness. You cannot change what you're not aware of. That's something that I say all the time. For example, drawing the client's attention to different levels of abstraction, small details, looking at the bigger picture, looking at the self-image, asking questions that often differ in perspective, or asking questions that filter different thinking styles, such as taking a critical view of the situation. It can inspire the client to grow outside of the thinking that created the problem. Challenging questions. Love asking challenging questions as a life coach. It's important to do that, to make people think, to make people become aware of, what's going on in their life. It's up to a coach to ask questions that challenge the client to really examine whether their assumption is true or explore other possibilities and options. An outside viewpoint. Of course, I'm not you. So as a life coach, I'm going to have an outside viewpoint. The coach operates from an outside position and is responsible for facilitating a conversation and is not affected or invested in the choices the client makes. We're a neutral observer. The coach respects the client as highly creative, capable, resilient, and powerful. Sometimes the major limiting factors for one person is the people closest to them. People close to them, they have an insight, they know what's going on, but it's totally different than being a coach and being on the outside in that sense. Sometimes this happens entirely inside a client's own mind. If they created resistance or doubt and loss of motivation, a coach lifts up the client by believing in him or her. Yes, men have life coaches. And this belief comes through in the positive, possibility-oriented, future-focused, and questions asked. Also, a big one for life coaches is really to foster accountability. There is a common misconception that one of the coach's role is to be an accountability partner, a task master to hold your feet to the fire. Yes, that is true, but also the client sets up a goal and action plan, and then the coach holds them accountable. So we're not doing the work for you as a coach. We are going to facilitate it and hold you accountable for doing your homework, doing your work, and all of that good stuff. A master helps a client create structure of self-accountability, which is extremely important, and positive accountability from supportive people. A coaching relationship isn't meant to be forever, and it depends on you. You can decide how long you want your coaching. Typically, it's 3 months to a year. I've had clients longer than that because they may have a different issue or a problem or a concern or something they want to tackle, and I'm there to help them through that.
Amen.
You're a life coach too, so what you think? What you think about all this here?
That was good, all that you just laid down now.
So it's important, but as a life coach, I help people all the time with this, just trying to figure out their lives, and because often people want to just take a new direction in life. They're tired of the same old life. Maybe they do the same thing the exact same way all the time, and life is really not giving them what they want out of it, or they've got disappointed and maybe they don't know how to bounce back, or loss of job, death, separations, divorce, all of that changes the trajectory of your life. It could be in a negative way or a positive way. That's why one of my favorite words is perspective. That's just my all-time favorite word, one of my all-time favorite words, because that can really change your mindset. In my upcoming book, well, I have a workbook coming out, but the actual book coming out, I talk about perspective a lot. What is perspective? You hear it all the time. It's a particular attitude or way of regarding something. It's your point of view. It's how you look at something. You know how you hear all the time. You can listen and hear one thing, or you can look at something and listen to something and think something else. But it's all about the glass being half full or half empty. I like to say that my glass is half full, even though sometimes you feel like it's really half empty. But it's about perspective. Is my glass half full or half empty? And I think that can really change your way of thinking and just jumpstart the positivity train. You always like to talk about positivity and trying to be positive. And sometimes I say you got to live in reality, though. You can be positive, but, sometimes that's where Darryl and I differ, because I'm like, you got to live in reality. You got to acknowledge what's going on. You can't not acknowledge it and say, this is not happening. When the train is, going past you, you can't say, I will not miss the train, when the train literally flew past you. So when you encourage somebody to be positive, what are you thinking about when you say that? And why sometimes you don't, you're not.
Well, you have to be realistic. Don't get that wrong. I mean, you have to be realistic, but you have to be optimistic as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that helps you get through the things that are happening, the things that you may be experiencing. It's not to take away from the reality of the truth. The truth will set you free. However, you still want to make sure that you are optimistic in the midst, that you're working towards certain goals and certain outcomes. And again, like you said, that you're also facing things that are there, and but yet seeing yourself beyond those things that may be going on to get to a certain objective.
Yeah, definitely. I think you should, be positive and be optimistic about your life, but acknowledge what's going on around you, because when you acknowledge, then you can change some things, or you have the ability to see it for what it is and then make changes. Sometimes, so affirmations are big, and as life coaches and as people, we want to talk to ourselves and speak positivity over our life, and reinforce great things about us and our lives, because we're all grateful. If we're listening to this, we're all grateful. Hopefully we are. I am, that we are still here and that we're alive. That's the first step, because we don't have to be here. So that is a huge blessing. So I think if you're above ground, then you can change at any time. And my saying says it's never too late to remix your life. You can definitely create the life you want. I went to a few years ago, Oprah had that big conference and she toured with that, creating the life you want. I definitely think you can do that, but you have to be in the right mindset. You have to acknowledge what's going on and where you flubbed up, because sometimes it's us that flub. None of us is perfect, depending on where none of us are perfect. No matter what we do in life, whether we're a doctor, whether we're a lawyer, whether we're a teacher, a truck driver, whether we're a cashier, a life coach, a counselor, a gym, teacher, a trainer, or whoever we are, nobody is perfect. So everybody can learn from past mistakes, and you would be a fool to continue repeating the same mistake. So at some point, you have to hold yourself responsible for the life you have and the things that you've created in your life. God is still there, keep in mind. But sometimes I believe God just watches you flub up and make mistakes, because we are our participant, in our own lives. But I think we're still going to get where we need to get in life. but you have to be an active participant. I can't say that enough in your own life, and you have to make wise choices and decisions and informed decisions over your life. And you have to do more of what you love and less of what you don't, because that will make your life miserable and long, right?
Amen.
You're doing things you don't like. So it's important to really discover what you like. And as a life coach, people come all the time, well, I don't know what I like. I'm not passionate about anything. I don't have gifts. I don't have talents. I've been told to work here, for 30 years, retire and die. That's what I've been taught. So you have a lot of people, older people, that are trying to catch up on life because they feel like they missed life and all they did was work. And I think that that's a surefire way to really look at your life once you get to a certain age and say, well, I haven't done anything. I haven't, gone anywhere. I never lived the life that I wanted to live because you've been working. And that, I don't recommend work, no play, tire yourself out, go to sleep, wake up, work. What kind of life is that? That's why you have mean people around. That's why you have people that are angry, uptight, popping off at people, because people are miserable, and I don't want you guys to be miserable. I want you to really work on the life that you want and try to correct some things and do things that make you happy, right? Because if you can be happy, that's the first step.
That is.
All right, this was a good show. If you wake up, you can get up. Any last words you want to say before we end this show, sir?
No, just keep it moving, keep it pushing. Drowning is not an option. Keep treading water. Keep going. No matter what, keep going. Get up every day, be grateful, have an attitude of gratitude. And, if you can see it, you can obtain it. If you see it, you can have it. And when I say see it, I mean either physically seeing it or in your vision. I know the Bible talks about people perish for the lack of, perish for the lack of knowledge, but people perish also for the lack of vision.
Yeah.
And vision perishes for the lack of people.
Yeah.
So just keep moving, keep seeing things, keep writing, keep doing what you need to do, and keep seeing yourself in certain places, situations, and things.
Right.
And move toward it.
Right.
In the best of your ability, and keep praying, and keep, just keep God first, and keep doing what you got to do in spite of what may be temporarily happening.
Right. Keep what excites you in front of you, whether that's a vision board, whether those are positive words, whether that's a journal or a diary. Just keep what excites you in front of you. Les Brown always says, if you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Yep. That's it. That's all for episode 89. I graduated from high school in 89, 30 years. But that's a whole nother show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you are a star, so don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Thanks for sitting in, Darryl.
Thank you for having me, wifey.
God bless you. Keep your head up. All right, now don't forget to go to Amazon.com for my latest book, The Best Gift Ever, A Guide to Loving You, Learning How to Live Your Best Life. Make sure you leave a review on Amazon.com. Anyone who does will have their book personally signed by me, Kendall Anise. Send me an email at livingtruelivingyou@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you receive your signed copy. We'll be right back.
Shine with Kendall Lanise. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Disappointment has no place in the heart of the grateful. Disappointment has no place in a heart full of gratitude.
Shine with Kendall Lanise. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.